Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to December's or NAFP's December webinar. And today I have the pleasure of being able to present to you. My name is Priscilla Kinney, also Priscilla Camacho. I am Paiute and Shoshone. I descend from the Tamok Shoshone and Duck Valley Paiute tribes of northern Nevada. I was raised in Bishop, California on the Bishop Indian Reservation. And I lived there all the way from Head Start to high school. And I left the reservation to move to Arcata to attend Humboldt State University. And that is where I obtained my degree in rangeland resource science. And so I had the intention of one day returning to Inyo County and Bishop in order to utilize my education to protect the land and just help be able to incorporate more management around traditional fibers and foods. Um, so I definitely get to do that now with my degree, and yeah, so I'm really excited to share with you all what I've been doing. So I'm going to be sharing my screen as well. See, just one moment. All right, are you all able to see this? Hmm.
I just see your name.
Just my name. You don't see my presentation though.
No.
Okay. All right, let me do this. Okay, let me do that. Then here we go. I think that's gonna work. Okay, you can see that? You
Yes.
see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, great. All right, so here's the presentation I made. Let me get back to the very front. Okay, so here we are. This is me. Today's Wednesday, December 18th, and there's me in my winnowing basket. Okay, so let's see, just a little bit about me. Here's some little roundabout of what I do. I'm a regalia maker. I'm a traditional basket weaver. I am a food and medicine preserver. Much of what I do is really centered around my family and for practical use. As you can see on the very bottom, I have my youngest daughter, Tsiaba, chewing on her rattle. I made that from willow sticks and roots from the Klamath River. And then on the right side is her as a little girl with her cousin down in Bishop gathering tea. And then that's my daughter Tsiaba again on the far right, years and years later, watching and just, observing everything that I do. So much of the work that I do, it really involves my children and my family. Okay, let's see. So I'm really just going to dive in deep today. This is going to be a story about my first winnowing basket. So the purpose of a winnowing basket is to let go of dirt, pine needles, and debris when you are gathering pine nuts, and you're only holding onto the food and what will nourish you, and just letting everything else go. And so with the winnowing basket, I have really been able to interpret it as my letting go basket. So throughout the weaving process, I've explored the concept of letting go and what that looks and feels like. And I do just want to mention that every weaver has a different experience and interpretation of their basketry. And so nobody's neither right or wrong, it's just different. And so this is my experience and my interpretation. And so this is us gathering for willow sticks. I am setting my intentions for making a winnowing basket. So at the beginning of 2024, I had the full intention of creating a winnowing basket. This is something that I've had a lifetime desire of creating. And so, with a lot of encouragement and guidance, I began this year, and it really started with getting sticks. And for me, gathering sticks is it includes my children. These are really the land stewards that I work with. And they range from, 1 years old all the way to 14 years old. And so, and just to give you an idea of what a really good stick harvest looks like, these children that are holding these sticks, that's the kind of harvest that you would like to get. So just to give you just a visual. And also I do want to mention as far as like the lightheartedness that they carry too. I think it's really special to involve children in these processes because they could really learn how to create that joy and that connection with the space and feel proud of themselves. So, and so here we are working on material. And again, I do involve my children in so many parts. And even whether I want them a part of it, they put themselves there, and it's really beautiful. This is my son Chamuk, and he is 5 years old. And when he's now in TK, but I hear a lot of just how well he's able to manipulate his hands and just create and do so much. And it's because of his observation and experience with basketry and participating in his culture that has really enabled him to excel in different parts of his education. So that's something else that we've been exploring. And I just love his beautiful hands working. Very beautiful. Okay, so this is me weaving my basket. Um, I really started diving into my sticks at the end of the summertime. So during the summertime, there was a lot of ceremony, and so my mind and energy was all towards there. So at the end, after the end of ceremony, I was ready to begin this process. And so part of getting into weaving your basket is just learning how to create a safe space for having this creative practice. And so that has been a struggle, but as I continue putting intention towards this, I was able to make that happen. And another thing to note is that when I began weaving this basket, I was in Bluff Creek, which is near Wichpeck in Humboldt County. And so much of what I was trying to accomplish, the basket style and the weave style, um, is really like 9 hours away driving. And so out of I'm I'm out of my ancestral territory to find other weavers that do this type of work. And so I was really having to rely on my memory of things that I seen as a child, looking at pictures, and then really sitting next to the people that were around me and allowing for that knowledge to lay on me. And so that was, my very first step into weaving this basket. The second part of weaving this basket I want you to take a look at the middle picture there. So at the first step, I was in Bluff Creek and I was really just trying to remember and just kind of flow. But finally, I got to a point in my weaving that I needed to really reach out beyond where I was living here in Humboldt County. And so I reached out to my North Fork Mono relatives and I asked them for guidance and examples of their basketry that I could learn from. And so all of a sudden, once I opened the door to this relationship to another basket weaver peer, all of a sudden my weave changed and it was tighter and it was the way it needed to be. And really, it was because I connected with that other person, my basket began to transform. And we were able to do that just by phone. And through this experience, I continue to really dive into patience with myself of not knowing how to really of not really knowing of what I was doing. You know, I never made a winnowing basket. I didn't know how exactly I was going to add sticks or take away sticks. I had to be patient with myself. I had to be patient with my children that were around me and maybe I felt were distracting me. And I had to be patient with the basket because it could only do what it could do and teach me as much as it could. And I just needed to be patient with it. And yes, and just accept this all as a learning experience. So that's the second part. And my third part, and so this was something I didn't necessarily anticipate me doing. But as I was transforming my basket, I then made the decision of destroying part of it as well. And so I made the decision to cut about a fourth of my basket off. And so what I was seeing is like when I first started my basket, the direction that it was going, like the general direction was kind of veering off to the left. And then as I reached out to other people, it was all just magically straightening up. And I was seeing that once I would let go of that bottom part of my basket, that it would be the shape that I really needed it to be. And so I made a decision to cut that bottom part of my basket. And it was a really hard decision to do that because it was so much work that I had put into that basket. And at the same time, I had to just be, I had to accept this new step of, yes, I learned that, I created that, and now it's time to cut that off. And so I did that. And there's my little root right there on and giving thanks to to that part that I let go. And so as I transformed my basket, cut the top, the sticks that were on the top and cleaned the back off. I started wrapping it and mending those parts that I had taken off previously. And from there on, the basket itself, the sticks themselves really just helped guide me, especially this one at the very bottom or to the third picture to the right. As I was trying to figure out how to wrap that bottom piece of the basket, the stick just kind of bent itself to curve all the way around those sticks. And then it wasn't from a picture per se, it was just me holding the basket and playing with the roots and the sticks that it seemed to just fit that way. And so I feel like the guidance came from people, and then, yeah, the sticks themselves really just guided me. And so the finished products here is the two baskets, really. So that basket that's in the middle there, that's that learning basket. That's my first learning basket. And then that whole basket is the winnowing basket. And the way I've interpreted this is this is me. This basket is me. And I've created myself, learned, and now I'm taking that part of myself and letting it go. Okay, let's see. So after I transformed my basket, I am destroying my basket. And so I give thanks to my basket, and then learning how to let it go. And so that was a good little piece of basket I just made, and I let it go. So as I transformed my basket, as I destroyed my basket, I am learning that letting go is a practice. Letting go is a practice that, we can do every single day. It could be in very small ways, or really great big ways. And so it's not something that just happens once and it's all over. It happens over and over and over. And so, and letting go is a very cultural practice. In my culture, in the Paiute culture, we have this practice of what we have called cry dances, and they often happen during funerals. And so this is really marking a different ending in my life. Not that somebody has died, but a different part of, there's a new beginning here. And so in a way it's a different kind of cry dance. It's not necessarily for a death of a person, but it's for the death of something else. And so this is a very much a cultural practice. And letting go is healthy. And the other part, this is a different element of fire being my medicine and fire being a medicine to indigenous people. That fire is not only important to the landscape, but it's very much important to us as individuals. And so I really held on to this my own personal fire, my home fire, and used it as my medicine. So this is me destroying my basket. So after I did all that, then I welcomed my basket to the world. This is at Hechteen Village. This is a Hupa village. This is along the Trinity River. Um, I made sure to give thanks and gratitude to the land and the river that held me and my family in such a safe space in order for me to weave this basket. So there's just so much that came into this basket that supported me, from my homelands in Inyo County to way up here in Humboldt County. There were so many elements that helped support me. And a beautiful moment that I was able to capture that day as I welcomed my basket to the river to Hastine is I had a bald eagle fly over us as we were sharing this basket to the river. And it was a really, really amazing moment. And so, just taking a look at the basket, I do want to acknowledge all the pieces that it came from. So the sticks, they're all from Witchpeck, and they are gathered by my children and I. The roots are uh, also from Witchpeck. They are sourced from our cousin Alita Redner. Uh, the the red bud in the basket is sourced by Gracie Dick from I believe her red bud is from Colville, California, from the eastern side of the Sierras. And along with the red bud is bear grass, and that's up near from Orleans, gathered from that area by my niece Jasmine. And then it's all wrapped in spruce root, and that was also gathered by our cousin Alita Redner, gathered near Trinidad. So that's my basket, and it came from a lot of different places and a lot of different people. And so this is me using my basket at the river. And this is part of that final part. And this is me deepening my practices of personal nourishment, my own personal healing and growth. And um, and of course it will coincide with how I parent my children. And so big thank you to all the weavers in the basket that helped shape my basket and help guide my basket. Um, and the conversations that I had with Mary Cruz, who's a North Fork Mono down from Gardnerville, she was a big mentor in the creation of this basket. And so I'm really grateful for her. And I'm also grateful for this other basket that I've been studying for a really long time. It's from Mono Lake, from the Mono Lake Paiutes, and and that's about an hour north of Bishop. And so a lot of relatives of mine on the Eastern Sierras utilize this style of basket, and so I was able to really reach out far and get a lot of different guidance from a lot of different people. And so I just want to acknowledge that as well. And so I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being at this presentation. Um, thank you for the bottom of my heart. This is me and my son. He's been a big part of this basket from the very beginning. And this picture to the left is the great Numu Lands. This is from the eastern side of the Sierras, from Mono Lake to Bishop. So from the top of the picture to the bottom, that's about an hour's drive. So that's this land here is a big part of my heart. And thank you all for sharing it with me. Yeah, Marisol.
No, I was just using the clap emoji.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, I took this picture from an airplane. Yes, Adasha.
I nice work. Talking about the your it's your first basket, right? You're saying or something? Did I
It's
get that right?
it's my first winnowing basket. I've made other baskets before, just that style.
Oh, from a different style of basket, or is that the same? The first one? Oh, okay. So what's like? Is you gonna do another one, or you gonna are you gonna continue basket weaving? Is it something that like intrigues you? The picking the indigenous plants out there sounded like really like empowering. How you was talking about being able to spend time with culturing with the nurturing and naturing of your children and stuff. And so yeah, I was just wondering if that's what your next plans were.
Well, my lifetime goal has to be is to create a whole kitchen set. Basically, I would like to be in this setting, like behind me, and have a burden basket and have my winnowing baskets. So ideally, to go out gathering, you need a winnowing basket, you need an open weave winnowing, a closed weave winnowing, and then a burden basket, just to gather. And so those are those things that I would like to have. And another goal that I have is to make a water jug. So on the eastern side of the Sierras, one of our baskets that we would create is, yeah, basically like a water jug, a jug, a basket so big that could hold probably 4 gallons of water and tight enough to hold it too. And so that is a goal of mine. Maybe not a 4 gallon jug, but maybe like a canteen. Yeah, and I will be putting this presentation on the website as well, so everybody will be able to look at it too.
Do you think in terms of aesthetic, do you feel like your aesthetic would be more inspired by like your bishop background, or do you think it's more inspired by like the Humboldt experience? Or if you had a kind of, if somebody saw your baskets, would they be able to identify or be able to connect it to a region?
Hmm. I think my basket would more connect to the eastern side of the Sierras. In particular, like the weave style, it's definitely a lot more mono and washo style. And for the fact that it's like double sticked, a lot of the baskets that I've seen around here are not double sticked. And the reason why we do double sticked a lot of times is because we are working with willow, and willow is so much more flexible. And these other areas, there's other varieties of plants like hazel, and so you don't have to do that. And so I think it definitely resembles more at heart, yeah, the Paiute area. Yeah, it was definitely tricky from being so far, but I think one of the really cool things about it is it is inherently, you know, of Northern California, and at the same time, it's not because of how some of the material was sourced. And that's something too that's very, very traditional, is traditionally Paiute basketry didn't have so many colors because we didn't have all the different plants. We did not have let's see, we had cat's claw or devil's claw, and that would be a traditional black, but maybe not always red. Red bud would be sometimes available, but we just wouldn't have as many colors and designs. And so in order to do that, you would have to make relationships with people in the Sierras. My grandmother, who is Awak Barbara George, she was from Winnemucca. She would tell stories about getting acorns that were wrapped um, in big leaves, um, not buckberry, but they were buckeye leaves. So there'd be like traditionally mounds of acorn mush would be wrapped in buckeye leaves, and that's how they would travel from the Sierras to Nevada. And so basketry material and food would be shared. And so often you would have these baskets that would have elements of California or elements of Nevada, and that's because of their relationships that they would have.
You ever incorporate anything else like feathers or beads or anything?
No, not this one. Because it's more of a practical basket. I mean, I would say I would use it for my personal ceremony, but my personal ceremony is more of on a practical basis. If when I eat or when I prepare food, um, I take that space too as a ceremony as well. But yeah, I'm not incorporating any. And traditionally, I don't usually incorporate beads or feathers in my basketry. You have any more questions?
One last question, Adasha here. Hey,
Mhm.
so like I said, I was moving up there to finish attending up at Humboldt State, but I'm learning right now, actually through my cousin Fred and some other people. I kind of look towards basket weaving, and I just joined the SEBA last month, about a month and a half ago, and I have other relatives that are in there too. Is there like I was reading about some of the stuff that's going on, like the really strong Native American community up there in Humboldt County, and so like language preservation of different stuff, historical, a lot of different like historical stuff, as far as uh, the movement of people and land preservation, stewardship. Is there a basket weaving club up there? You know? Well,
Well, I wouldn't say that there's a club per se, but there has been a group of weavers, and I wouldn't even call them like the Northern California like SIBA group, but they definitely associate with SIBA. Um, how I've seen them advertise for themselves is the wage poos weavers. And so it's a lot of ladies from Witchpeck and some ladies downriver from there, and they travel in Tolowa country and on the coast and help host some of these weaving circles. And so they've been gathering about at least every other month. And so on the occasions that I can join them, I do join them. And so when I did first start this basket, that's who I started it with is with the wage poos weavers. Yeah, it was definitely it was a really fun basket to start though, and I really liked going back into my memory and remembering the things that I did see and just like actually really putting them to practice, and then showcasing it for the other weavers um that had never seen like a basket of this shape, you know. Since there is no other ones, there's no way to be wrong. Yeah, I'll go back to my basket here too. I don't know if anybody could see that. Do I have any more questions in the room? Here's my little basket. I don't know if you can barely see it. Yeah, this red bud here, though, it was just one piece of red bud, and I was able to make it create into 2 rows. So I'm really, really, really thankful. They had just that little bit of red bud to use. And it works really well too. I've already used it for cleaning out my pine nuts already. Yeah, one first harvest down. And then I imagine I could use this also for acorns. So when I'm trying to get the little skins off the nuts, I could toss them up in the air and just kind of like move them around in the winnowing basket, and then they'll peel off gently in the basket and just fall through the open weave. So that's also my intention, is to incorporate it with other traditional foods aside from just pine nuts. I'll be using it for acorns too.
Do you ever have to clean like in between the slits, or does it usually just fall through pretty cleanly?
What's that?
Ever find, do you ever do you ever have to clean through the slits, or does everything just kind of fall pretty cleanly?
It actually does fall pretty cleanly. And then what I tend to find is like when I start it from either this end, what's kind of nice is like it's a little bit bigger weave or spaces. Oh, this is messing up here. This thing is not quite showing. But the weave, the gaps are bigger on the bottom and the top. And so like when I'm getting the the nuts, like all the big stuff gets out, and then when I'm holding it all in the middle, all the super fine stuff, it like gets released from the middle. But I think for my future basket, I want to make it more bowl concave shaped. I feel like it's slightly too flat. So it's definitely a work in progress of how to create the shape too. That was definitely challenging, but I'm still really pleased with the shape. I know you can barely see it, but see the bottom part is just a little bit gappier, and then when I first get it, it's like the big stuff falls through, and as I move the nuts from each row, it like grabs on some of the material little by little. So by the end, you do get a really good, pine nut or acorn. And then I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sticks of strength in the back. So 5 supporting sticks of strength. That was definitely guidance from the Mono Lake Paiute basket. Saw a lot of those in their baskets. And a lot of similarities to the baskets around here. They incorporate those strength sticks. Baskets that are going to have to load a lot of weight to them and be used over and over. And so since this is my first basket, I'll be giving this to my oldest daughter. This will be her basket.
How would you repair it if it has like a tear?
Say that again?
If it got like a tear, would you repair it or would you retire it?
If it got a tear, I would probably repair it. If it was like really, really bad, I would retire it. But yeah, like for example, I did kind of have to retire this. This is my daughter's rattle that she had. So I made this for her, and it got played so hard, it broke. Yeah, so it is broken right here, but I love it because it's a nice rattle, and it's a really pretty shape. But again, these things are meant to be broken too in a way because like we're supposed to use them. So it just encourages us to make more. So yeah, this basket here is like, no, I guess about 10 years old. This is her one of her first toys. Any more questions? Yeah, so I will be putting this presentation on the website, and so anybody can revisit it and just look over the things that I did share. Oh, I should just call on people. Yeah, that's a good idea too. But yeah, I think what's interesting about this story too that I have shared, it's been a lot about emotions too, aside from just being knowledgeable about fibers and land, um, but being knowledgeable about our emotions and then our emotions between other people. I think it's really important to, I don't know, get some better understanding of those emotions in order to have better relationships with people. If we have better relationships with people, we can do the important work that needs to be done in the world, whether that be, land management, planning big fires or big harvests. All these things are really important and they require relationships. And if we don't have our, emotions in check, we're not going to be having these powerful relationships that the world needs. And so I think that's something I would really like everybody to kind of walk away with today. Louise, is there anything that you would like to share with us all today?
I just missed everything and said, oh God, I better see if I can at least get on. But yeah, I want to watch because I mean, I've done pine needle baskets, but that's about it. And I did a hat. But that's it. I've never done anything else. And I mean, there are, like what you've said, the stories that we did watertight baskets. And so I'd like to get into that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always nice when other people share, because there are many of us that it was taken from, and we didn't grow up with our people together to learn all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really great to be able to share this.
Claudia.
Hi, I just wanted to say that thank you so much for sharing your process. For me, it's very interesting. Like, even though you were explaining, where you got the tools, I think it was very beautiful how this whole process from the beginning to the end for you has been more of an, like, like you just said it, like an emotional process. And I feel that that's, that we kind of lost that intention as we make and create as creators and makers within like the traditions. And it's beautiful to see and for you to show your process, including having your kids, them helping you, and then seeing you through that process as well. So I very appreciate this workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, modeling these kinds of behaviors can be can be very vulnerable, and something that people don't want to do, show your kids that you don't know things or you're struggling through things or or you need their help.
And not only that, sorry, but and seeing that, but as well as, like, I love the fact that you were like, this is me trying out this, like something new, something I wanted to create, something that I know, like I come from this tradition or this type of culture, and I'm putting my signature in my own way. So that's how it felt for me. And you're kind of showing to the generations in front of you of the whole process, and at the same time of creating their own little mark,
Mm-hmm.
because one thing it was our ancestors, and now it's like what makes us, what's our signature within this weave now in these days, in this era that we are living. So yeah.
It's true. To wrap your head around creating something like this and putting the intention in it and to completion, that was really important to me. That I create this, that I have this idea, this dream, and I create a goal, and then I meet it. That was something that I really wanted to show my children. And now I could do it again.
So the small portion that you burned, was that just it was the beginning of it and you stopped it, or remind me again, what was the small portion that you burned?
The small portion that I burned was the very, very beginning of my basket. So I decided to burn that part because basically the weave wasn't as tight as I had wanted it, and the shape was making it just look and feel so awkward. And aside from just like its presentation, yeah, there was that emotional piece to it that I just needed to cut off because in my mind, in my process, I was really struggling a lot. And so maybe my mindfulness wasn't as peaceful. And so then I got to really recognize that as I was observing my basket. I had to give it respect for where I was at that time, because that's just where I was at in my learning. And but I needed to let it go because overall, for the overall basket, it wasn't going to give it a good shape. And so it was really about the practical reason to cut it off too.
Do you think it also would have just influenced, the fact that that's the emotional state you were in when you were creating it? And that's kind of the vibe inside of the basket after, if you're starting with that kind of frustration, then does the basket have that kind of frustration thereafter?
Well, hopefully not because I let it go. You know, I acknowledged it, I respected it, I gave it thanks, I prayed for it, and then I let it go. That way I'm not like holding on to something that at that point doesn't have any use. Because once I would cut it off, I mean, it wouldn't really have any real practical use. It would just be something it'd be like I'm keeping my old mistake, something I don't want to not want to remember because I still have part of that other weave in it, but I'm utilizing the amount of weave that's going to really give the basket the shape that I want because I had a teacher tell me I'm the boss of these sticks. You got to boss these sticks around, right? And so that's what I was doing. I was telling these sticks of how to shape. And so, you could just let things or the sticks kind of tell you what to do, or, you could be that weaver and shape it. And so that was the decision that I made.
Love that.
Yeah, to boss those sticks around a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like for us, it's like we gotta boss that Outlook around, or we gotta boss that Word document around, or
hmm Yeah, not being afraid, that was a big part of it too, was like not being afraid, not being afraid of controlling the sticks and the material, and also not being afraid of letting it go too, because there's a point in our material say like it's no good, it needs to be composted, it needs to get cut off, it needs to get repaired. um that's a part of letting go too. And I mean, that's a big part of what NFP is, working on too, is yeah, getting away from those plastics. And when we're using things like this, yeah, I mean, eventually it'll get so broken down, it will have to get composted or burnt. Like this whole basket will maybe one day will get thrown in the fire too. I don't know. That'll be for the next person that is responsible for this. So yeah, they're all made to be let go, and so that's kind of the beauty of them too. Nothing's meant to be held on for forever. Especially our children's toys, and that's kind of a beautiful thing that I have now is yeah, it's breaking down, but all these other children's toys that I do have, I mean, they will be here forever, but not the baskets. Well, we're wrapping up on our time just about. Um, I would like to give some time and space for Fred. Fred is the CEO of NAFP. Hello, can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah, sorry, Priscilla. I'm just not feeling too well, but I was listening today. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, just to let everybody know, we have completed our year 2024. We're going to have a whole total of 12 presentations on our YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed, definitely look at it, the Native American Fiber Program channel. And next month, Fred, he's going to be doing a presentation for us.